Hello everyone, this is Tyler from the Emerging Civil War social media team, and I guess needs no introduction, but I have with me Chris Mackowski.
I need to be introduced.
Alright, we're going to introduce him. This is Chris Mackowski. And keep all of this, because this is the interaction you would get between all of us here. So I'm glad this is happening. We wanted to talk to Chris a little bit, just like we were talking to everybody. Chris, we're talking about 1864. You've got to have a favorite moment in 1864.
I'm a little biased because there's so many awesome stuff, but one of the arguments I like to make is at the Brock Road, Plank Road intersection on the afternoon of the 7th of May, and Ulysses S. Grant really gets that army in motion to continue on to Spotsylvania Courthouse. He had promised there'd be no turning back. And so when he continues on instead of retreating like the Army had done up to that point, it really changes the war in a fundamental way in how it's waged. And, certainly when Grant is promoted to Lieutenant General and he comes up with the grand strategy that lays all that out, I think that's an important precursor to that. But as Mike Tyson said, everyone's got a plan to get punched in the face, right? And so Grant gets punched in the face in the wilderness, and he sticks to his plan. So really, I think that's what makes that such a pivotal moment.
Yeah. That's fair. And so one of my favorite things about 1864 is obviously going to be with Spotsylvania. And I heard Evan talk about it last night. We were talking about Upton and his moving forward and kind of how he's revolutionizing warfare. Well, revolutionizing. But what he's doing is going to be used and modeled after. So you're seeing a changing tactic kind of happening in Spotsylvania too. So that one lies really heavy with me. Do you have a person or a figure from 1864? And we can go back to Spotsy, because I'm sure that might be a good one that rings kind of true in your head, the one that's really sticks out to you.
Certainly I think Lincoln, actually.
Yeah? Okay.
And I like Grant. I think 64 is the year Grant really comes of age and makes the war transformative. But it's Lincoln's patience to let that happen. And particularly as the summer wears on and things look worse and worse for his reelection prospects, and he's still staying the course. Like he's committed to making this happen as much as he can, and he doesn't panic.
Right.
And it would have been easy to panic in his position. And that patience pays off because eventually Sherman does break through at Atlanta, and Sheridan does have his victories in the Shenandoah Valley, and even the fall of Mobile Bay in August. And those are all dominoes that if he hadn't been patient, they wouldn't have fallen.
Interesting. That's a kind of a theme we've had today is Lincoln. We talked a little bit with Hampton Newsom, and he described how important the election was in October. Ryan and I talked a little bit about how May could have been disastrous for the Army of the Potomac, including Lincoln. I mean, May it wasn't a good start. We'll call it that. So it's funny that you bring, not funny, but just fascinating that Lincoln's been brought up again. Like, this election really is 1864. I mean, that election was great.
And he doesn't get to that point unless Grant gets him there. Right. So that's why I put the emphasis sort of on Grant's military victory at the Wilderness as opposed to Lincoln's reelection, which is the point of no return. Like that's the thing. But we don't get there if it isn't all that stuff that leads up to it.
Awesome. And so my last question for you today, behind us in this wonderful screen here, it says Emerging Civil War. What does Emerging Civil War mean to you?
To me, it's all about community. It's about a community of historians who are supporting each other's work. It's about a community of readers and symposium attendees getting together and talking about stuff that they're passionate about, swapping ideas, getting inspired, getting excited, finding new resources, new books, new speakers. And it's that sense of electricity that comes with being with like-minded folks who can inspire and motivate each other. And the rising tide lifts all boats. I say that all the time. At this point, every time I say it, I feel like I'm just repeating myself, press button. But really, we're here to support each other in the work that we do, and we believe in each other, and we've done it for a long time, and I want to keep doing it.
Awesome. Well, Chris, we thank you so much for everything you've done. And we have one more thing to say to you guys. We will see you online and
on the battlefield.